Great, so if you're just joining us, my name is Julia Heitner. I am the Development and Communications Manager at iEARN-USA. I'm joined and supported here by Rachel Manley and Nicole Weitzer from iEARN-USA as well, who will be helping in the chat box. If you have any questions, post them in there. Great, so we're gonna go on and look at the schedule for today. So during today's event, we'll be sharing a little bit more about the mini documentary and meet the creator of the video, Haeberle, and then we will be screening the short video. And then we will have a panelist discussion with our special guests, who you'll meet in just a bit. Then we'll have an opportunity for all of you who are joining on the webinar to share your questions for the panelists and any of your hopes for iEARN. And then we will have some wrap up and we'll share our next virtual event. Great, so this video is wonderful. It features footage and interviews, most of which were taken at the 2018 iEARN International Conference and Youth Summit that was held last year in Winchester, Virginia. And I recognize a lot of names in the chat box from attendees of that conference. So we're excited to have this kind of mini reunion. There's also additional footage that was taken from classrooms, iEARN classrooms around the world. The video features interviews with iEARN community members from many of our 140 countries that participate in iEARN collaborative projects. We have Rosy from Argentina, Isha Margaret from iEARN India, Peter Copen, iEARN's founder, Allan Kakinda from iEARN-Uganda, Olga Morozan from iEARN Moldova, Hela Nafti from iEARN-Tunisia, Margaret Riel from iEARN-USA, and Anzi Sharap, who is an iEARN student alumna. Great, and now I'm excited to introduce Austin, who is a Peabody Award-winning digital journalist and documentarian who created this video. Austin has been working with iEARN for a long time and has traveled to many iEARN conferences and visited iEARN classrooms around the world, as well as worked with our sponsored partner programs and other partners. So I'd like to introduce Austin and have him share a little bit more about the film. And then we'll screen the video.
Hello. Hello, can you see me? Or hopefully can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Let's see if we can get you on video.
Oh, so start my video. I think that was me. There we go.
Oh, there we go, great.
All right, hi everybody. This is really exciting. I mean, just listening, Moldova, we have Argentina, people in Paris, or actually south of France, Uganda, Algeria, Zambia, and probably a whole other places. When I last looked, it was about 30 or 35 people that were actually online. So it's a little bit inauspicious that I'm coming from, New Jersey, but we're just going to have to roll with it because that's what we do here in New Jersey. But I'm really excited to be here, and I'm a little, nervous. I put together a short film for the iEARN community, and frankly, it's a lot of pressure. You go to an iEARN conference, and there's so much really good energy and collaboration, and people just like being around each other. They love the idea of international collaboration and cultural understanding. And this is a more important time than ever for all of that to happen. And you just feel that energy at the conference. So as a filmmaker, you do your best and you ask the questions and you film, But I'll tell you, it's a lot of pressure to come back and have material and say, you know, how can I represent that? You know, I mean, you guys are doing such wonderful things. So it's a lot of pressure. I hope it works out. I tried to take people through a small story arc by hopefully the people, the educators as my principal audience, as your principal audience who will see this, will understand where probably a lot of us see education and where a lot of the experts in this video see education currently right now, where kids and teachers are not learning in the classroom. But through your experiences and your energy to deliver them to another place, to see that, you know, by participating and being a part of iEARN, that it's really something quite beautiful and quite different and something that could really change their classroom. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I hope I was able to capture, even in just a small way, the essence of what it means to be a part of the iEARN community. So essentially that's my introduction. I have been watching the Michael Cohen testimony this morning, so I am going to yield the remainder of my time back to the chairwoman, and I hope you enjoy this film.
Great. Thank you so much, Austin. That was wonderful. I think you really captured how incredible and vast this network is. So now we will screen the film.
The first day I walked into the doors, I made frames from Morocco, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Netherlands. That was the most amazing thing. And it doesn't just be limited to friends. It broadens your perspective about whatever you're doing. It's a family that is trying to pull us together from all the different parts of the world. That's what iEARN is for me.
We had 12 schools set up in New York, ready to link with 12 schools in Moscow. We had something called Luma phones, which were telephones that had an ability to send a picture. And you say, oh my God, that's really somebody in Moscow? Oh my God, you know. But you could hear them. And it ultimately evolved into what is today.
iEARN is a platform to make learning real. It's a network to reach the world and learn actively about it from the people who are experiencing that world.
Learning really is that thing that gets people excited. And unfortunately, in many of our schools, for most of the day, learning is not taking place. What we're having is teachers telling kids things and kids listening, but they're not learning and the teacher's not learning.
Cooperative work, teamwork, communication. You will find on all the curricula around the world telling you these are 21st century skills and you need to implement them. Unfortunately, it's not true, but in iEARN you will find it.
We have chosen this theme because we think it's high time to take a stand against this problem.
What's great about iEARN is how it inspires youth. It's not just, a classroom-focused activity. It is much bigger than that in a sense that its learning circle is so much wider. And so while kids are learning these lessons in school, they're also learning about kids from around the world who are learning something similar.
How many times does a president get re-elected in your country?
I see the problem, I want to act, and I want to do, and I want to implement, and then share. And not share within my national, at the national level, within my classroom, but share worldwide. to receive the feedback, to receive comments from somebody from Taiwan or, I don't know, from Belarus. You knock at the door and it opens. This is iEARN.
I think what people recognize is their sameness that goes through whatever the outside looks like, whatever culture they come from, whatever color their skin is. And I think that's the beauty and the joy of what's going on here.
With all these projects, how different it is, how different you feel when you know people from other places and from other cultures. Try it out. Try to make it simple. It's not that difficult. You just need to get started. Give it a try.
Yes, we have our differences. Yes, we may not agree on everything, but we need to live together. If young people are actively engaged and they are actually taking action in their communities, and if we can continuously share and learn from each other, then world peace is not out of our reach.
If we could make every kid a teacher, they would be powerful learners. iEARN provides the opportunity to let kids be engaged in real work, in real teaching, in real learning. And those are the kinds of things that will change our world for the better.
Wonderful. So I'm so excited that we get to finally share that with the community. We've had that for a few weeks now. I wanted to give it a big premiere, but I've been wanting to share that for a while, so I'm so glad that everyone has seen it. At the end of this webinar, we'll share the link to the YouTube, so you can watch it over again, and we'll also be sharing it out on our social media, and we'll also encourage you to share it with your friends and community members and colleagues, to also get a chance to learn more about iEARN and join us. So I'm now also very excited to introduce our panelists who are joining us from many different countries and time zones. We have Rosy Aguila from iEARN Argentina, Peter Copen, iEARN's founder, Ed Gragert, the founding executive director of iEARN-USA, who happens to be in Argentina today as well, Allan Kakinda from iEARN-Uganda. And if you can go to the next slide. We have Olga, did Olga make it on here? Great. Welcome, Olga. We have Olga from iEARN Moldova, Hela Nafti from iEARN-Tunisia, and Margaret Riel from iEARN-USA, who's a board member with us, as well as an academic researcher and expert. So if you can go to the next slide. I've asked the panelists to share a little bit about these questions. What makes iEARN unique? How has being a part of iEARN benefited you and your community? What are your wishes for iEARN's future? So I'm going to invite each of them one at a time to share a little bit about this. You don't have to answer every single question, but would love your thoughts as long-term members and experts in the network, and maybe about your experience of being in the film as well. So let's start. I'll go in alphabetical order. We'll start with Rosy.
Okay, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thanks, Rosy.
Okay. I was in silent mode. Well, I think that, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Austin. That was a great video. And I think that what is unique about iEARN is the people and the connection among people. And when I heard Austin at the beginning, he said that was such a good energy at the conference. I think that together with the people, the energy that generates when we are working together. And it's, I think that is all the trust, the support, the guidance, and the friendship that generates in the network when you start participating in projects. And thinking about the classrooms, well, I think it's the real life learning, motivation, and when, as a teacher of English, iEARN has given me the opportunity to work with my students in the real, like the real world, I would say, and not only concentrating on the language, but on doing so many other things like the ones that are proposed in the projects. And so I think that as a teacher of future teachers of English, I feel that I'm opening up like a word to them, a new word. Most of the times they don't use the new technologies to work or to think about how to make their classes more effective, interesting, motivating. And so I think that's what iEARN gives the teachers and the students, is also this opportunity to learn and to teach with real world material and topics and everything that we have in iEARN, and communicating with committed people. So I think about iEARN and I always go back to the people.
Great, thank you so much, Rosy. That was wonderful. I agree with you. Next up, I invite Peter Copen to join in.
Yeah, hi, Julia. Can you hear me?
Yes, Peter, I can hear you. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm just jealous of Ed in nice warm weather while it's raining and cold here. So I was thinking about those questions, and one of course, the things that makes iEARN unique is exactly what Rosy said, which is the people and the sense of, I would say, family that happens from participating. But there's something, for me, looking at it from a little bit of a different point of view. What is really unique about iEARN is its ability to financially survive and sustain itself for 30 years. It's a remarkable achievement because so many programs like this are not able to sustain themselves, because each year, the folks who don't participate in this may not know that a lot of money has to be raised in the United States to be able to provide the online support and the brochures and the many things that make iEARN work at that level and coordinate it internationally. So to me, my hat is off to the people in that do that every year. Of course, it's not easy to raise money at all. So that's something that is extremely unique and needs to be acknowledged. The second question, which is what has it meant to me, I gave that some deep thought, and for me, iEARN has really made my life worthwhile. And when I look, now that I'm in my 80s, which I can't hardly believe, and looking back at my life, and I say that this sense of joy and satisfaction and fulfillment. In other words, I feel full. I don't feel empty in this having participated in making a difference and touching people's lives is really very special for me. So that's my particular experience. What was the third question, Julia? I made a note, but I think so.
What are your hopes? What are your hopes for iEARN's future?
For the future, yeah. I've said this many times. But it hasn't changed. So I'll say it again. my hope is that we draw on the leverage, the power of a network of millions of children and thousands of teachers and schools in 140 countries or whatever, to come together and kind of express the power that is by, in some way, finding a voice in the world that is so troubled. And I think it does come down to looking at where the leverage points are, which usually ends up being in the political arena, even though education is not supposed to be political, but yet everything is political. So, for example, I think global warming is a big issue threatening us today. So it would be interesting to me if we could get, ideally, let's say we could get 500,000 signatures or somehow voices representing all the different countries on iEARN, and having, say, some statement sent to the United Nations or some people in power in different countries. I mean, it's all wide open given the internet today. And so that's my vision, is that we really, in my view, haven't really tapped the full potential of what this network can be. So that's something that I feel very strongly about, given the accelerated rate of the problems we're facing. We need to accelerate our power to influence others. So thank you for allowing me to share my points of view.
Great. Thank you so much, Peter. Wonderful to hear your vision and your perspective. I now invite Ed Gragert to join us.
Great. Hi, everyone from the Southern Hemisphere. Yes, Peter, it's nice and warm here. Well, I'm so happy to be a part of this event. And Austin, what an incredible resource and an incredible magic that you do to capture what happens at an iEARN conference. And just to repeat what some others have already said, for me, the uniqueness in iEARN is indeed that family. And Allan, you mentioned that in the video itself, and Austin, you referred to it, because it's the people. And I often think back, I mean, I had the privilege of joining Peter like in 1990, and Margaret was already out there doing things. And there were like, I don't know, 10, 12 different networks out there connecting schools internationally to do collaborative work. And, you know, I often think back of what is it about iEARN that iEARN is still here, flourishing, growing in 2019, 31 years later or so. And, you know, I came down about 3 or 4, but I just want to share maybe 2. One is, you know, focusing again on that people issue. iEARN, as we all know, is not a network that has young people solve problems together, I mean, math problems together or something. It is people working together collaboratively to make a difference, which I'll come back to. And when we had that first conference in 1994, Rosy, in Argentina, what stuck out for me was how powerful it was when teachers come together. Because, you know, before that, Peter and I were bringing the coordinators together every 6 months or so. And the teacher said, why are the coordinators getting together when we're the ones doing the work? And it was so powerful to see the teachers come together that first time, because they shared, the learning took place when they were able to share with each other. You know, and they all said, you know, iEARN is the best thing that's ever happened to me as an educator, but you should know you have this, this, and this to do in your classroom. Whereas some of us who were on the bureaucratic side, we thought iEARN was perfect. And teachers will listen and learn from each other so much more effectively. And so for me, that tradition of the conference, where it's teachers sharing with other teachers one-on-one, and now of course young people to young people as well in the Youth Summit, that made it so different and so unique. And the other piece is from the very beginning, thanks to Peter's vision, it wasn't, as I mentioned, just a network to do academic work. It was a network to do 2 things. One, recognize that kids will learn better if they're working with peers, real kids, but also they'll grow up to be global citizens, recognizing that if you're going to deal with the world's issues, you're going to have to work together. And that making a difference in the world which was a piece of iEARN, a very important piece of iEARN from the very first day, is again one of the uniqueness of our network that doesn't exist in other networks. And I think that's one of the glues that's held this network together, that it goes beyond just simply test scores. It goes beyond that kind of purely academic, to actually empowering young people to feel they can play a role in making this world a better place. And for me, those are two of the uniquenesses. And then thirdly, in terms of where things are headed and what it's meant for me, I've really valued the role of partnerships in iEARN. We have never seen iEARN as the answer to everything. And we recognize that in order to really address both education, but also change in the world, you need to work together. Just like the young people we ask to work together organizationally as well. And so I think my hope and vision for the future is that iEARN will continue to build on those relationships that get built between iEARN and other organizations, so that the impact can be even larger than it is today. And for me, that's an exciting, and that's again another uniqueness of iEARN, that it's ready to work with organizations that work with young people, that work, as Peter mentioned, maybe with the Sustainable Development Goals and climate change. But whatever it is, that we all have a role to play organizationally as well as participants. And for me, being a part of that has, like Peter said, has changed my life. I know so many, many wonderful folks all around the world. And I've been just so privileged to be able to meet them and experience their own cultures. And so I just look forward to this continuing for 100 years.
Wow, thank you so much, Ed. That was very inspiring. I'm now going to turn to Allan Kakinda from iEARN-Uganda.
Good. It's great to hear what the folks that have come before me have shared. For me, it's really the uniqueness, and I've been part of several levels of iEARN. So the uniqueness is in the value proposition of making education real. I remember as a child struggling through certain subjects like geography and understanding really why the teachers were teaching certain things that were not clear. And then one day a teacher comes in and introduces iEARN, and we're able to actually interact with the people who are actually experiencing some of the things that we're learning about. So that's what is unique for me about iEARN, making education real and actually being able to interact and learn from the actual people who are experiencing the things that you're learning about. That for me has made the world real. You talk about the friends we have across the world. I'm very sure I can never get stuck in any country because of the different. And of course, like I shared in the video, I think iEARN closer and closer is making world peace possible. And so it's no longer just an idea or a thought. With iEARN and connectivity and learning together, very soon we'll all be friends of each other, and all this infighting and the different wars we're experiencing, I think, will be history. And so finally, in terms of the future of iEARN, I think for me, one, especially since I'm a part of the EC, is really strategically planning our future and documenting it so that even as future people keep joining the leadership, there is a clear vision and direction that we are taking as an organization. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Allan. You're making me cry over here. So, really appreciated that view of world peace. I agree with you. Olga, I would love to hear from you next.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a wonderful event, and thank you for joining us and inviting us to be here. You know, the movie was absolutely impressive and fantastic. Okay. There is so much wonderful things already mentioned. And from the perspective of personal vision that Allan outlined, and also from the perspective of teachers and, the institutional thing, what makes the iEARN unique. I was thinking that as educators in particular, we try to find out, different approaches and different educational approaches that will combine forces, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and commitment. So that is the place that iEARN could offer. So that is the only place that I've met in my life as an educator. That is a network where not only the teachers, but also in particular, the students could find out the ways for them to communicate virtual, which is absolutely making them strengthening the ability of the 21st century, person and digital citizen. It's collaborating, of course, because it's the core element of the 21st century skills, and it's having this the voices to change the world, and through their personal commitments, of course, seeing different everything that is going on in the world through their critical analysis, which is very much important, like seeing living in the world with so much destruction and so much different powers, and there is a way for them to develop these abilities, and you see differently through different perspectives. I really appreciate that, and I feel it inside, and I really like the thing that iEARN brings. What is connected to my community or the country where I live, it perfectly fit into one of the, let's say, educational direction and brands that Moldova now has, is making the project as a core element of the education. So iEARN is just a surprise, or not a surprise, but just a present for Moldovan educators, beside the fact that they could develop these abilities and through projects and collaboration. I really love the fact that it reaches the communities which is far away, which do not have access to the education, and the quality of the education and the rural areas, in particular the Republic of Moldova, is very low. So through connection, through interaction, you just learn about the world, and you are part of this. What are the wishes for my wishes for the future of iEARN? When I was thinking about one thing, I really really wish that when people worldwide will hear iEARN, they will be much more familiar as when they hear about somebody like telling I'm a vegetarian or I'm veggie. So when people will learn or will find out, or at least will hear the iEARN, I'm an iEARN member, they will say, oh, I know what is that. Exactly when they hear I'm a vegetarian. So I really want that to be part of the heart of the soul, and that will be, the state of being, the state of believing, the state of feeling. This is what I really would like to happen in future. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Olga. I love that. I would love for everyone to know about iEARN. Hela, we'd love to hear from you next.
Yes, thank you, Julia. I think after the end, then everything has been said, because I think we all share the same views and the same feelings, the same values. Well, to me, when I was engaged in iEARN, I met Eliane, and Eliane was so inspiring. It was really unique, because when I asked her to come to Tunisia and run a workshop for my teachers, she accepted very quickly, and she came and she delivered such a passionate workshop that all the teachers there were really inspired and started teaching differently. And that's the uniqueness of iEARN. iEARN is a global community of passionate people dedicated to founding together a better world. Because what we are doing in iEARN, as many of you said earlier, is not just teaching the traditional way with these teachers just delivering the curriculum. We are teaching the SDGs people are talking about, but that we are really living in our classrooms, but also reaching out to the community outside our classrooms. And that's what makes it real because we are empowering the future generations. And I can tell you that in a country like Tunisia that has gone through a revolution, we need to have such dedicated people, not only in Tunisia, but all over the world who know about us because they are linked to us, because we are exchanging on projects together, because our students are talking to each other, and that makes it real. There are no more barriers between the people. We want this better world, and it is unique that iEARN is really implementing it in real life. How has iEARN changed my life? It has changed it dramatically, and all the people who know me now just call me, oh, yes, you are iEARN. And as Olga said, we wanted to become in such a way to have these people talk to us and about us as being iEARNers, because we are sharing those values. We are teaching those lifelong skills to our students, and we are exchanging, collaborating together, and trying to do the best. And we are friends all over the world. When we meet in our conferences, as Austin said, it is really so much different from all other conferences, because we are, no matter where we come from, we are friends, we are a whole family, talking the same language, despite our differences, despite our different languages, but we have one language, that of the heart, that of building together a better world. And the environment is ours, and we don't want to spoil it. We don't want it to be spoiled the way it is today. Climate change is part of our life today, and we need to take action. And that's what we are doing in our various communities around the world, but also in our communities nationally. Finally, how I want iEARN to be in the future? Well, it is a global community. It is big, and we have iEARN Latina, we have iEARN Asia, we have iEARN America, we have iEARN in all the world. But last year at the conference in the United States, I suggested that we develop iEARN Africa. And I think if we do it, and if we achieve this iEARN Africa, we will have all our hands tied together around our planet.
Wow, Hela, that's wonderful. Thank you. I love this vision. I feel like I think we need to have a symposium, a virtual symposium at some time. I'm going to think about that. I would like to now bring up Margaret Riel, who's our last panelist for the event.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank Austin for such a wonderful tape and such wonderful memories from the conference. It was really inspiring to watch it, and it engenders, this is what's, as everyone has said, what makes iEARN unique is the heart and soul of so many teachers and students who have collaborated for decades around so many compelling projects. The quantity and the quality of the projects and the experience and the learning that comes from doing them for so many years is just an incredible asset. And it's the spirit of those who work from joy that really makes iEARN this very, very special place and spirit. How has iEARN, being a part of iEARN, benefited me personally and the people that I'm around? all of the answers have been so remarkable, and it's been great hearing from each of you. I think that how it has benefited me and those around me is that we have learned better listening skills. Even when we think we know about the world, how it must be like from another person's perspective, we are always surprised to find out that our ability to understand the complexities of the issue is just so limited, so myopic by our cultural stance. So when people from other cultures open our eyes and our hearts, our eyes and our ears and our hearts, we are changed in really fundamental ways. So it's that ability to listen with heart that is what helps us really benefit from all of the ties that we make. And as everyone has said, it's the friendships that we create, it's the sense of family that we experience when we come together for those conferences and when we work together on projects. What are my wishes for the future? I would like to see the spirit of this organization infuse every schoolhouse across our nation and every nation, so that every child thinks in terms of global issues, understands that we are on a planet that is limited in its resources. It is a small spaceship hurtling through space. And unless we take care of both the planet and the people on it, we won't survive. So really our ability to be in this world and with other people depends on our ability to communicate and care about the place we live. So, and then as Peter and Ed and so many of you said, it's what gives my life texture and substance. One of the things that I've done recently, because we've done such a good job of telling the story of what students have done, but not such a good job of telling the story of what teachers have done. I've been trying to engage teachers in action research and helping them learn from their participation in iEARN, but also share what they've learned with others. So that's something that I've been, it brings together the two parts of my life, global education and action research, in working with teachers from iEARN so that they have a voice and that they continue to share what they have learned from this incredible experience with all of us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Margaret, for sharing. I want to thank all of the panelists. It was really wonderful. And I know some of you, it's very late at night. So really appreciate you all joining us today. We're going to take, we have just a couple minutes for community questions. So if you are interested in asking questions to any of the panelists, or you want to share your own reflection, you can post in the chat box, or if you can see, there's a raise your hand feature. I think we're only going to have time for maybe two or three comments if anyone would like to jump on. Rachel, I believe there was one person who was interested in joining us.
Yeah, if you want to tell Pablo what we're muting.
Pavla, I heard you want to speak, so we're going to unmute you and you'll be able to join on mic.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Yeah, hi. It's very nice to have all of you, and it was very nice to join this wonderful evening. I just would like to express my emotion from iEARN, Georgia, because I'm 19 years already in the network, and it's changing a lot, not only in my life, but in life people around me. So I would like to say thanks for all people who spend this time and energy to create and develop and keep a network. So I just would like to say that it's a wonderful experience to have new technologies in the iEARN, and not only wait that we will have only one meeting per year, but to use permanent meetings And it was amazing, this opportunity, and I would like to just to say thanks again, and to share next time with maybe other groups as well, and country by country, maybe regions or global. And I will try to join all meetings in future as well. So thank you very much. And I wish you to have more and more participants, because it's changing lives. It's unique because what I like mostly in iEARN is not competition, it's collaboration. And all participants are winners in projects and in the program. And the it changes is not only for teachers, not only for community, not only for participants, but we change it a lot of, like I changed myself after participation in projects, and I can share every day. Today it was conference in Georgia, small conference, and in the small school we join iEARN, so they express how they found a lot of things which is important to do at school. So thank you and good luck to everyone.
Thank you so much, Pavla. That was wonderful to hear from you and your experience in Georgia. I see there's one more hand up, Basma, so we'll allow you to jump on mic as well.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi. This is Basma Marawi from Tunisia. So I'd like to share my memory about iEARN. So the first time I started a project with iEARN was when Mrs. Hela invited Eliana, and that was the beginning. So we have learned to implement project-based learning in the curriculum, and the pupils have become interested and motivated to learn. So it's no longer just memorizing, it has become working and acting rather than it's real learning. So learning for a lifetime and not just learning from textbooks. So it was really an amazing experience. And especially when we meet in conferences, we meet the people whom we have worked with virtually, we really feel that we have known each other for a long time. So it was really amazing. So thank you very much. That's it.
Right, thank you so much, Basma. I really appreciate it. I think we have time for one more. Otherwise, we'll move on, and I'll share a couple announcements and additional information. No, I don't see any other hands raised, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. Thank you again to our panelists. At the end of this webinar, we're going to share the link so you can view the video on our YouTube channel. So Rachel, if you can go to the next slide, thank you. I just wanted to share a couple ways that you can support iEARN in your home country and around the world. Next slide. Okay. So if you want to share your experience, we're going to share this out on social media. If you want to post about your iEARN experience, I see a lot of you have posted really wonderful comments in the chat box today, which it's just very inspiring, and it's wonderful to hear all of that. If you would like to share those thoughts out on social media, you can use the hashtag #MyIEARN and share your own story. I think a lot of people on today's webinar, many of our panelists, and have expressed, the desire that everyone know about iEARN. So we really want to try to get the word out and use this video and invite all of you to join in that experience. We'll be posting the video and the link on social media. So if you see that, you can repost it or go ahead and share your own experiences or anything you'd like and use that hashtag. Also, if you are not yet an iEARN member, I know that probably most of you who are on this webinar are already part of the iEARN community, but just in case, or you want to direct others to join, we encourage you to join iEARN in your home country or community. You can visit iEARN.org and click join and then fill out a registration form. If you don't have an iEARN center or coordinator in your country, we can still invite you to join as a member. So please sign up. We'd love to have you. Another way is that you can, I think Peter Copen really shared this, that in order for iEARN to continue and expand and invite more members and more collaborations and provide more opportunities for students and connections to make the world a better place around the globe, requires funding. So if you would like to make a donation to the iEARN Center in your country, it is always greatly appreciated. I put a sample here. So if you're a US resident or member and would like to donate, the information is here. And lastly, we would like to share about our upcoming virtual event on Saturday, March 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern. Rachel Manley, iEARN-USA's Professional Development Manager, is hosting iEARN's Global Educator Hangout. It's a great way to come and meet other educators, especially if you are looking for project partners, or if you've been doing iEARN for a long time and want to help mentor new members. We would love to have you join. It's open to iEARN members from all over the world, or if you're not yet a member, you're also welcome to join and learn a little bit more about how to participate in iEARN and to meet other educators. Nicole has put the link to register for that event in the chat box. We'll also be sharing this out on social media, and it will be on the iEARN-USA website as well. Okay, and here is the link to the new documentary. If you would like to join, it's on the iEARN-USA YouTube channel already, and we'll be sharing that out on our social media. It'll also be up on the website. So if you'd like to rewatch it or share it with others, it's now available there. And I just want to thank everyone again for joining us. Thank all of our panelists. Really appreciate you joining today, and just thank you for making iEARN what it is. And